Imagine this, you finally decide to send some crypto to a friend, just $30 worth of Ethereum, nothing too crazy. You open MetaMask, copy paste the address, hit send, and the wallet quotes you a $42 gas fee to move $30. Yes, really. You close the app immediately, you decide crypto is broken, and millions of beginners have hit that exact wall in the past 4 years. These days, it's not as bad, but when the network is congested, fees can stack up hard. But here's the part that nobody told you about. Ethereum isn't broken, you were just driving in the expensive lane. There's a much cheaper lane sitting right next to it, where that same $30 transaction costs less than 1/10 of a penny. Same Ethereum, same wallet, same security. So today, we'll explain exactly why mainnet fees go so crazy in the first place, walk through the 3 biggest cheaper lanes you can switch to in under a minute, and show you how to get your money in and out without losing it to the most common beginner mistakes. My name is DC and you're watching The Coin Bureau. Now, before we get to the cheaper lanes, you need to understand what makes the main road so expensive in the first place. Because once you see the mechanism, the fix becomes obvious. Ethereum is one giant shared computer that anyone in the world can use. Every transaction you send competes with every other transaction for space in the next block. And space is limited. So when too many people try to use the network at once, they start outbidding each other for that limited space. That's what a gas fee actually is, a bid. Picture a single lane road at rush hour. Everyone is trying to squeeze through the same lane. The driver willing to pay the most gets to cut the line. During calm hours, fees can be as low as a few cents. But the moment a viral NFT drops or a new meme coin goes parabolic, that base fee can spike 10 to 20 times above baseline within minutes. That's why your friend got quoted $42 to send $30 worth of ETH. Not because Ethereum is broken, because they opened the wallet during rush hour. Which brings us directly to the fix. The technology that quietly turned a $42 fee into a fraction of a penny. Think of a layer 2 as an express lane built right on top of Ethereum. Instead of forcing every single transaction onto the main road, a layer 2 collects thousands of transactions, bundles them together, and posts one compressed summary back to Ethereum. Thousands of users split the cost of that one summary. So instead of you personally paying $10 in gas, you and 9,999 other people each pay a fraction of a cent. Same security settled on Ethereum. Tiny, tiny fraction of the price. Now let's give it the official name. These express lanes are called rollups because they roll up thousands of transactions into one batch. And after a major Ethereum upgrade in March 2024 called Dencun, plus another one in May 2025 called Pectra, L2 fees dropped by 90 to 95% from where they used to be. Today, roughly 95% of all Ethereum activity happens on these express lanes. The mainnet has basically become the settlement layer underneath. The express lanes, however, is where everyone actually lives. Which brings us to the 3 express lanes you need to know about. Base, Arbitrum, and Optimism, the big 3. Let's start with Base. Base was built by Coinbase, the same company millions of beginners already use to buy crypto. It launched in August 2023 and currently processes 7 to 10 million transactions per day, the highest of any L2. A simple ETH transfer on Base costs around 1/10 of a cent. There's no native Base token to learn about, no extra accounts to set up, nothing weird. So if you already have a Coinbase account, going from I just bought some ETH to I'm sending it on Base for almost nothing takes less than 5 minutes. For a total beginner, this is genuinely the easiest on-ramp in crypto. Then there's Arbitrum, built by a company called Off-Chain Labs and live on mainnet since August 2021. That makes it the oldest and most battle-tested of the big 3. A standard transaction costs around half a cent. Now, what Arbitrum does best is depth. It has 400 to 500 apps, the deepest DeFi liquidity of any L2, and the longest track record. If you want to use the most advanced apps that exist anywhere on Ethereum, Arbitrum is where you go. And finally, Optimism. Optimism is interesting because it's not just one chain, it's the architecture that other chains are built on. Base actually runs on Optimism's open source framework called the OP stack. So does WorldChain, Zora, Inc., and over 20 other chains. So think of Optimism like an operating system. You see different apps built on top of it, but the same engine is humming underneath. A standard transaction on Optimism costs around 1 cent. Now, it's important to understand there is no winner here. All three are fast, all three are cheap, all three settle to Ethereum. Which brings us to the part where most beginners actually get stuck: the wallet. You probably already know MetaMask. It's the most widely used Ethereum wallet on the planet. It works on every L2. But there's a catch. MetaMask does not auto-detect networks. So when you connect to Base or Arbitrum for the first time, you need to manually add that network in the settings under Networks. If you don't, your wallet will look completely empty and you'll panic thinking your money disappeared. A second option is Rabby. Rabby was built by the Debank team and it auto-detects networks for you. Connect to a Base app and Rabby switches to Base automatically. Connect to an Arbitrum app, it switches to Arbitrum. For someone hopping between L2s, this is genuinely a much smoother experience. The third option is Coinbase Wallet, which is separate from the Coinbase Exchange app. Coinbase Wallet has Base support built in by default, so no manual network adding needed. It's the easiest path if Base is your primary destination. And here's what confuses every beginner. Your wallet address is the same on every L2. The exact same OX address you use on Ethereum mainnet works on Base, on Arbitrum, on Optimism, and all other L2s. But the assets on each chain are completely separate. So think of it like one giant house with different cabinets inside. Same house, but different drawers. The ETH in the Arbitrum drawer cannot mix with the ETH in the Base drawer until you physically move it. Which brings us to that move. This is called bridging, getting your money onto an L2. Now there are two paths and one of them is dramatically safer than the other. Path 1. Buy your crypto on a major exchange like Coinbase, Binance, Kraken, or whatever you feel comfortable with. When you go to withdraw, you pick the destination network from a dropdown. And instead of selecting Ethereum mainnet, you select Base or Arbitrum directly. Now the exchange handles the routing. You skip the expensive mainnet entirely. This is the cheapest, easiest, and generally safest path for any beginner. Path 2. If you already have ETH on mainnet, you use the official bridge for that L2. Bridge.base.org for Base, bridge.arbitrum.io for Arbitrum, app.optimism.io/bridge for Optimism. Please type those URLs by hand, bookmark them, save them. Never click a bridge link from a Google ad, a Twitter DM, or a random website. Because here's the warning every beginner needs to hear. Over $3 billion has been lost to bridge hacks across crypto's history. The Ronin bridge lost $625 million in March 2022. Wormhole lost $325 million in February 2022. Nomad lost $190 million in August 2022 and Multichain lost roughly $210 million in July of 2023. Sadly, these aren't random horror stories. They were almost always third-party bridges, not official ones. So the rule is simple: use the exchange withdrawal or use the official bridge. Don't use anything else. Right, now let's get to the honest trade-offs, because L2s are excellent, but they aren't magic. The first major trade-off: withdrawing back to Ethereum can take up to 7 days on the official bridge. Why? Well, because all three of the big three are something called optimistic rollups. They assume every transaction is valid by default and give a 7-day window for anyone to challenge a bad one. Depositing onto an L2 takes minutes, but pulling your money back out the safe way takes a week. However, there is a workaround. Services like Across Protocol or Hop Protocol will front you the money in seconds for a fee of around 0.05 to 0.2%. Not free, but not 7 days either. Trade-off number 2, the sequencer. Every L2 currently has a single computer run by the team that built it that decides what order your transactions go in. It's called the sequencer. And if it goes down, the entire L2 freezes. Base's sequencer went offline for 33 minutes in August 2025, and Arbitrum had a 90-minute disruption in 2024. Your money was never lost, but it was stuck until the sequencer came back online, which is obviously a single point of failure. Now, the good news is all three networks are working on decentralizing this. Arbitrum already launched something called Bold in 2025 that lets anyone challenge a bad transaction. But for now, the sequencer is a real trust point. Trade-off number 3, not every app exists on every L2 yet. So if your favorite DeFi protocol is on Arbitrum, but your money is on Base, you'll need to bridge again, which means more fees and potentially more risk. So always check the app that you want is live on your chosen L2 before moving funds anywhere. The honest truth is that the cheap fees you're seeing today are not the end of the road. they're the middle chapter. Right now, there's a technology called account abstraction quietly going live across every major L2. It's based on a standard called ERC4337 and a follow-up upgrade called EIP7702 that activated on May 7th, 2025. Together, they let regular wallets like MetaMask act like smart contracts, which means a few extraordinary things become possible. Apps can pay your gas fees for you using something called a paymaster. So you can log in with Face ID or Touch ID instead of a 12-word seed phrase. You don't even need to own ETH to send a transaction. The app absorbs the cost in the background the same way Netflix doesn't charge you extra when the servers are busy. And thankfully, this isn't theoretical. Over 26 million smart wallets have already been created and more than 170 million transactions have flowed through this new system. Coinbase Smart Wallet uses it right now. Some apps on Base already let you transact for literally zero fees because the app picks up the bill. So tie this back to where we started. The $42 fee that scared a beginner of Ethereum is now a 1 cent fee on Base. Soon it'll be a 0 cent fee because the app behind the screen pays it for you. You won't add networks, you won't manage gas, you won't even see the word ETH. You'll just press a button and the transaction will happen. Ethereum is not getting harder, it is getting easier. And the people who learn the express lanes today are the ones who will glide through the version where there's nothing left to learn. So here's the question worth thinking about before you close this video. Will you stay on the expensive lane, potentially paying $42 to send $30 worth of ETH because mainnet is the only Ethereum you've ever used? Or will you spend the 2 minutes it takes to add Base or Arbitrum to your wallet, withdraw $20 from your exchange straight to that L2 and finally use the version of Ethereum that almost everyone else already lives on? So if you've been using L2s already, or if you are about to, then please let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to understand exactly how stablecoins like USDC fit into this whole L2 economy and which ones are the safest to actually hold on Base or Arbitrum, then you should definitely check out our beginner guide on stablecoins right over here. Thank you all so much for watching and I'll see you again very soon. This is DC signing off.